The sad death of physical media.
I want you to picture this. It's Tuesday, September 17th, 2013. I'm saying picture this like most of my audience watching this wasn't children or too
Is that like GTA 5's drop date? 2013?
young to remember this night, low-key me included, but F it. It was a crispy September day, just like every other September day. Most people were going on with their regular lives, either going to school or work. But that night, humanity was gonna change and never be the same. GTA 5 was dropping. People were lining up hours before the release at midnight, making sure they called off school or work.
I didn't play GTA 5 till like 2015, 2016, probably. Like, maybe in like 8th grade, like 2016, like summer.
The next day to bask in all of its gloriness for at least a full day. News reporters came out to interview people with their pre-game thoughts on how the game was gonna be. When the doors finally opened, people stampeded in like it was their final day on.
Bro, that, and it's like, I've seen videos of people waiting for the GTA 5 release. I feel like it's way more of like a community experience to see the PS2 drop. Like, during the PS2 drop, everybody was up, like, inside a mall at, like, 3 in the morning. Camped out day before, and they're so hype. No part of them's like, yeah, I'm doing this so I could scalp fucking 9 PS2s and resell them. It's, like, actual gamers that are nerds in, like, their early 2000s that are like, I'm hype as fuck for the PS2. This is gonna be sick. This is a big drop. It's the best gaming console, and I'm super excited. And you're like, oh my god, wow, this is like awesome. And that just doesn't exist anymore. That's less like physical media. Recently, I don't know if you guys know, PS5 is getting rid of like new consoles with a disc drive. Or kind of phasing out like hard copies of video games
Earth.
Which is like really sad. I think it's bad for 2 reasons. Number 1, for collectors. Number 2, because everything digitalized, they could just rip from you. Like, if you own a physical copy of GTA 5, you own that copy. Whereas if you have GTA 5 digitally downloaded, one day they could just go, deleted. And then you can't use it anymore. Also, I gotta say this, side rant, I understand how CDs work for, like, music, because there's indents kind of like a vinyl would be. How the fuck is the entire game of GTA 5 on a disc? And if it's, like, scratched, that fucks up part of the game. How does that... I don't even understand. How does that work? They encode it in the disc. What does that mean? It's like a digital key. Is that what it is? But you don't have to download the game. Like, if you have a disc, you don't download it. Like, it's not like, oh, a key and then you download it. That would just be like a digital key. You have to download it? No. If you have a disc of a game and you put it in your Xbox or your PlayStation, do you have to download that game? I don't remember. Because I don't remember the last time I used a disc. The last time I used a disc, genuinely, Black Ops 3. That's probably the last game I physically bought. Like, and well, outside of Switch games. Like, Switch games I've put in. But that's different. Like Nintendo shit.
This was what people now call simpler times. Skip to a date that hasn't happened yet. Thursday, November 19th, 2026. The lines are empty and no one is waiting for some reason. The reason why? Rockstar has announced they're officially ditching a disc copy and GTA 6 won't come with one. And Sony clarified even more that they won't produce any more discs for PlayStation consoles starting officially in January 2028. Meeting the era of console discs, having a collection to flex on your friends with the magic game binder, showing how much you're better than those bum-ass because you have a bigger collection than them, is officially dead and has basically solidified that this century will be the end of most physical media. And I'd be lying to you if
most physical media outside of like vinyls. Like vinyls, people still buy. There's like certain things for like nostalgic purposes and collection that I think, like, most creators, music, like, there's no need for vinyls anymore. But people still buy them. Like, they still put, like, modern music albums on vinyl. because it's just cool to own.
I said it doesn't break my heart. At least to me, this seems like Gen Z's first thing to see phased out and humanity evolve past it. And really, it's every generation. Everyone other than Gen Alpha always grew up with physical media around them. We all remember going to Redbox and—
Oh my god, don't even get me started. It's a sunny day, you lift up the sheet, and you're like, what movies they got? You're scrolling through. Oh my god, trying to pick some shit. It was so much simpler, too, okay? That's the thing. It's like, it was so much easier to find a movie, too, because it's the same idea as, like, going to a restaurant with 10 options or going to Cheesecake Factory. When you sit down at Cheesecake Factory and they hand you a 40-page menu, and now you're flipping through 300 menu items, it's like, what do I choose? When you're at a restaurant that has 10 options, it's so much easier. Like, now we're in a golden age of media of, like, Hulu, HBO, everything exists, and there's a million options to watch, like, at your fingertips. So it's like, what do I pick? When Redbox, it was like, okay, there's like 9 movies out. Let's pick one. And it was like, who cares if we rewatch the same one? I will say the one thing about Redbox I didn't understand was they had video games you could rent, too. Do y'all remember that? They had movies, and then there was like 5 or 6 video games. And I was like, who the fuck's renting a video game from Redbox? Like, I get renting a movie. I feel like you own a video game. Like, who would rent a video game? And you had to return it? Yeah, you had to return it. So you would rent the movie, and then you could buy it. I'm pretty sure you could buy it from Redbox, too. But most of the time, you'd rent it, return it like a week later.
Renting a movie, then forgetting to return it and hoping your lawyers don't knock on the door. Or seeing ads about Gamefly and thinking it was the future. I actually don't know a single soul who used it, but I assume the
Gamefly.com.
company went bankrupt the same way as Redbox because no one returned stuff. One of the first things that pops up in people's minds with seeing physical media diminish from society is you will own nothing and be happy. The origin of—
Bro, there used to be a job for people to give advice. This isn't even digital media. This is just like how much time has changed. There used to be like magazines that they would release on how to beat games. And there would be like people whose jobs were to beat games and be there on call for people that needed help. So if you were a gamer, you would call in. Yeah, they were like Game Informers, whatever it's called. And you would call them and be like, I don't know how to beat level 9 of Space Invaders. And they would go, oh, you just have to do this, this, and this.
it is so wild for people that—
Now it's just YouTube. It's like the equivalent of, you remember early Fortnite Battle Pass, pre-leveling to get tiers? You had to get stars. And so there was daily missions, and it'd be like open 6 chests and risky reels. But some of them it would be like, find the hidden star between motel and fucking risky reels, right? And there would be like a YouTube, like those guys just made like 1-minute videos of like, here's where the star is, just so you knew.
Don't know it. It comes from the World Economic Forum, which is basically an international organization with the biggest leaders and people who shape the world, where they try to find solutions for the world to quote unquote improve it. I get this is supposed to be a positive organization in theory. All I think of when I see pictures like this though is the Kotsky photo with all of them menacingly looking at the camera. They made a presentation in 2016 saying you will own nothing and be happy, where they say products are replaced by services, and people will need to rent or share everything they need. The worst quote by far is from the presenter who did it when she said, "Welcome to 2030. I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better." Imagine saying this with a straight face thinking everyone's gonna be like, sounds great. They basically—
Or like video game companies when they're like, actually, we're just going to make it so you can't really own our video game. You just buy it for a period of time. What company tried to do that and then immediately stepped back? Was it EA? There was some company that wanted it to be like you couldn't own their game. You had to like rent it. EA did it, but what were they trying to do? I forget what it was.
pitch what—
Like they were trying to get people to rent like FIFA. Yeah, it was like a monthly membership, kind of like Xbox Game Pass, but for their— oh no, it was Ubisoft. It wasn't EA. It was one of those big game companies. They were trying to make it so you had to like pay to like rent it, but when you stopped paying it, you didn't get any of the game files, and they would like delete it.
Plankton did in the SpongeBob movie and hoped for a positive reception. And Loki, as time goes on, they kind of weren't wrong with the time.
I gotta Google that. I gotta Google it. It's gonna irk me if I don't know. Ubisoft tries to make it so you can't own their games. Ubisoft has taken the opposite approach. They actively maintain that gamers do not own their digital or physical games. They argue purchase only grants a limited license to access software, which should be able to be revoked at any time. Ubisoft completely shut down their servers for the online racing game The Crew in 24, leaving players who paid the full price unable to play it anymore with no refund. It's like you just buy a license to play it for however long they want to keep the game up.
Everything past 2016 has turned more and more into subscriptions. I mean, for God's sake, they're releasing a car where in order to get the full horsepower of it,
But that's like, there's so many game companies that have tried to do that.
You gotta pay a subscription. Imagine paying.
Isn't that the same thing with, like, is it Tesla or BMW where you have to, like, pay to activate your heated seats? Like, you buy the car, but then you have to pay to, like, be able to use something that's in the car, which already exists. I think it's BMW. That's fucking crazy. I think here's the problem. He said ever since 2016, I think Tommy's right, but we had a golden age from, like, 2016 to 2018. Remember when Netflix had everything? That was, like, the peak where cable TV was super expensive. It was this monopoly that existed, and it sucked. And Netflix came in, and they went, we have a solution. Just give us $15 a month, and you can watch whatever you want. And you're going, oh, my God, this is awesome. And then everything became rentable, or not rentable, subscription-based, to where now instead of having cable, you have Hulu, HBO, fucking Paramount, and you have so many other subscription services because now they're all segmented to where not everything's on just one, so you need like 4 to be able to watch everything you want, to where you're just paying the same amount you did with cable, but you don't get cable TV. So now it's like very common that people don't have cable TV, but they just have 4 subscription services that add up to the amount they would have paid earlier. So it's like maybe fractionally better, but it's just like, that's the thing is, it's just capitalistic competition. You're going to have moments where people innovate and it becomes really good. And then all the competitors go, we're going to do the same fucking thing. And then once everybody's doing the same thing, they hike prices because it's like, there's no benefit.
$100,000 for a brand new car and the company forces a subscription so you can use the full cable.
Or Xbox Game Pass. Xbox Game Pass gets everybody to download it. It's awesome. Everybody loves it. They get 50 million users. Because it's so sick to be able to rent it. Then they hike prices. Everybody gets off. There's 20 million people that leave Xbox Game Pass. And then they go, well, what happened? What? Oh, you don't want to pay $35 a month to be able to play Call of Duty? Oh, wait, we don't even have Call of Duty on the Game Pass anymore. You don't want to pay $35 to have access to like 85 shitty games?
Abilities of it. Privacy concerns start to become worse as governments create.
It's $23 now. Yeah. It was like 30. And people glaze the CEO for that. And I get it, right? Because I understand, I think this CEO is better than the previous Xbox CEO. Like, Xbox Game Pass was $20 a month. They raised it to 30, deleted Call of Duty, and then made it $23. And everybody goes, thank you. Thank you. I'm like, okay, so it's just a $3 price hike. Like, yes, the new CEO lowered the price. But if you look long scale, it's just a $3 price hike and no longer having Call of Duty, which is a $70 game every year. So it's like, that's a pretty big hit to the Xbox Game Pass.
More and more surveillance. The ultimate problem with physical game copies going away is the actual ownership. Because some people will defend it saying, who cares anyways, we all buy digital.
COD is on there, but is it on like a different add-on? Microsoft announced any future Call of Duty games are no longer going to be on the service of day one. Forthcoming titles launch at full retail price, and they're added to the Game Pass a year after their initial release date. You're sucking the dick of Xbox if you think that's a good deal. A year after the release date, the next Call of Duty's out. I can play Black Ops 7 in 2 months. Who gives a shit? Nobody's on the game anymore. You only play the COD for the year it's out, and then the next one's out.
Copies now. And I will say that is
holy fuck. I can play Black Ops. I can play Cold War right now. Awesome.
True, a majority of people aren't driving to the store to buy every brand.
Who plays COD anymore? I'm not saying people play COD anymore. I'm just saying it's like, that's an example of like people being like, oh no, it's a good deal. But I'm like, they removed one of their big ticket items.
And it's saying, who cares anyways? We all buy digital copies now. And I will say that is true. A majority of people aren't driving to the store to buy every brand new game that comes out. But when you buy games at a lot of these companies, you're never actually owning the game. If you buy a game from the PlayStation Store, Microsoft Store, Nintendo Store, and yes, even Steam Store, they're all licensed.
Don't you make fun of my man, Gabe Newell. Don't you say anything bad about him.
And not owned, unlike a physical copy. Most of the time, it may not be a problem to have the digital copy, but best believe when there is a problem, there's essentially nothing you can do when you're at the mercy of these companies. Nothing proved this more in 2023 with PlayStation and their Discovery TV controversy. Back in 2023, Sony told its users that because of a licensing disagreement with Discovery TV, that anybody who purchased Discovery TV shows or movies would have the content removed as Sony wouldn't have the license anymore. And
bro, but it's like, how do you not get a refund for that shit? It's like, oh, fuck up on our end. You spent $40 on this. We're just gonna delete it. Like, ugh.
There were some pretty big shows on that list, including Mythbusters, Cake Boss, and Naked and Afraid.
Not Cake Boss!
How It's Made. In total, it would have been 1,318 seasons of TV shows completely wiped from anybody who owned them. Imagine being that one
Next, you're gonna tell me they're gonna get rid of Tanked.
dude that bought like 50 seasons of different shows. I would have crashed out and wreaked havoc at Sony HQ. When this happened, it confirmed everything true.
I still gotta say, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, it's better than it used to be, bro. Do y'all remember the days of on demand where to be able to watch one episode of a TV show that you didn't record and came out like this year and it was a new season, you had to pay like $9. It was like, say you wanted to watch one new episode of like a fucking show, you had to pay for each you had to buy each episode. Or you could like buy maybe a bundle of a season. Like, it was so bad. I gotta say, one of the best things that I maybe see problems for the individuals that create the music, but for the consumer, like Spotify and Apple Music, bro, iTunes was terrible. You had to pay like $2-3 for every song. You had to buy every song and yeah, you own it. But it's like, I'd rather just give Spotify $12 a month and, you know, be able to listen to unlimited music forever than, you know, fucking have to buy one rap song that I like. Oh, I want to listen to Russian Cream by Key Glock one time. That'll be $3.
People suspected that companies at any moment could completely fry a product you quote-unquote own, and there would be a more than likely chance you wouldn't get a refund. Now, luckily, because of all the backlash they got for this, Sony announced they reached an agreement, so everyone kept their stuff, but that's just for now. Funny thing is, doing research for this video, last month Sony told all its UK users that 551 movies and TV shows for a company named Studio Canal are getting removed in September 2026 because they're losing the license. This one didn't make as much noise, so they probably didn't care to fight it and let it die. But I hope y'all know this is just gonna happen more and more. So even if you're not someone that cares about physical media as much anymore, you should understand why it's needed. It's also happened for games, like a game called The Crew, for example. Ubisoft sold the game for full price to people, and after it didn't do as well as they wanted, they decided to delist it in 2023, and in 2024 they shut down all—
Did they ever refund? Wait, I gotta Google this. Did they refund people who bought Concord? Oh, they did. Sony and PlayStation issued full refunds for everybody who bought Concord. I was gonna say, because that game was out for a week. The Crew's different. Dude, Concord? Oh my god. That shit was insane. They had like PlayStation bundles with like Concord. I bought Concord. I did an ad for Concord. I remember I go live, I play Concord. There's like maybe 1,000 people online on release. I'm like, oh, this game ain't that popular. I'm like, maybe it'll grow. And then I had to do a YouTube video for them too. So I do the stream and I get the YouTube video edited and I'm about to post it. And my manager hits me up and he goes, they're deleting it. I went, what? He goes, the game's not going to exist anymore. You don't need to post it. I go, oh, already? And he's like, yeah, they're deleting it. I go, oh my god.
all of the—
Why'd they delete it? It flopped. It was a hero shooter game that cost, like, what was it, chat? 30 or 40 bucks? I don't know if Marvel Rivals existed at the time. I don't think it did. But you were competing with Overwatch, which was free. And so that's part of the problem. Like, hero shooter games are historically free. And now at this point, it'd be like, imagine creating a hero shooter to go against Marvel Rivals and Overwatch. But instead of it being free, you make it 30 bucks. So it's like you're already paywalling like 80% of the users that are even going to try it out. because those type of games, you just have to make money on microtransactions. You're not going to make money on the game itself. And it was like the gameplay was good, but it was like it wasn't nearly good enough for it to even be recognizably worth as much as compared to a game that's competitors free.
Servers. Then right after that, they started yanking the license from people with 0 refunds. This is why they don't want shit in person, because if that was me, I'm not going down without a fight. I'm gonna tell a Ubisoft employee to square up and fight for my copy. I'm keeping it, goddammit. Then instead of hitting people with
it's not even possible to outbeat other hero shooters today. I mean, we're literally about to rip a Marvel Rivals out in 30 minutes. But like, Marvel Rivals Marvel Rivals and Overwatch are the definitive hero shooter games. I don't think anything will beat them. NetEase is one of the biggest gaming companies alive. Genuinely. Like, they grind shit. So many popular games coming out are NetEase.
With an apology, maybe giving them
TF2 is not as big as those games now. Maybe like all time, but that's like an old game.
Funds for something they bought.
Val's a hero shooter? No. I would say most people would agree Val's competitor is CSGO, not Marvel Rivals or Overwatch. Like, Marvel Rivals and Overwatch are hero shooters because it's in real-time adaptation, whereas Valorant is round-based. And it's to 13, just like CS.
Microsoft doubled down, telling people that you can't complain about what they did because you never owned it. I mean, they're not even hiding the agenda at this point. This more rigged than a referee in any World Cup game Messi plays. Because of all of this happening, people have come up with a slogan to fight back. If buying isn't owning, then piracy isn't stealing.
Yeah,
whoever made this gotta get 5 golden stars, because there's no defense these companies can say. Whenever someone downloads a copy of their game and doesn't buy it, they say it's illegal and the person should be fined because it's stealing. But when you buy something that's bought with the thought of its ownership, they can take it away and say you never owned it. They're pretty much that meme of the person spamming easy, and as soon as they get one clap back, they say you're being toxic. At the end of the day, no one is buying these game copies thinking it's just a rental. If you wanted to rent it, then you would just rent it. The reason I say this is because you'll see people defend these companies saying,
well, you should have just read the terms.
Yeah, tell that to Facebook when you don't read their 200 pages of terms and conditions. Then when they sell your personal data to like
I don't know anybody that reads terms and conditions. Like, I don't think I've ever met somebody that's genuinely read like 80 pages of like privacy terms on a social app.
100 different companies just to come back saying you should have just read the terms. After that company gets hacked who bought your data, now all your emails and passwords are leaked. That's actually how it works a lot of the times, by the way, but nah, it's your fault for not reading 200 pages of dog shit. The company who maliciously sold your data.
Well, and it's also like you gotta keep in mind it's either you use it or you don't. Like, that's the biggest thing. It's like when I went on this boat trip, it's like, oh, we gotta sign this liability waiver. I don't fucking read it. Sign it. And my friend will be like, why didn't you read it? Because if I don't sign it, I don't get to go. I either sign it or I go home. I'm signing it.
For profit is not at fault at all. Worst part is you couldn't even successfully sue these companies because they're technically right. You signed an agreement saying you just licensed the product and don't own it. This wouldn't be as much a problem if these companies gave refunds all the time or required it. I think it still would be good to have a physical game in case it gets taken off shelves for archive reasons, which physical copies help with. Like, as an example, Steam is probably the most nice when it comes to this. There was a John Wick game that they decided to remove, but instead they delisted it from Steam, and people who bought the copy still have that copy so they can play the game when they want to. Steam so
I have like 4 or 5 Steam games that don't exist on the marketplace anymore.
far hasn't had some incident like Ubisoft or Sony, but to be fair, who knows what will happen in the future. Also, another thing people don't think about is how much used games help people. If everything is digital, you're not gonna have the classic of being broken down bad. Then buying some used copy that may have had some rip marks on the box and suspicious stains. Hey, I'm not gay, but $20 is $20, as the saying goes. It made you as the buyer have more power because you could buy a new game when it comes out for 60 bucks, then maybe resell it for $40 or trade it in, and get the next new game for half off. It was pretty much its own economy, and it was a win-win.
I don't know, bro. GameStop was conning even in the older days, bro. I remember going to a GameStop in like 2018, and they were trying to sell FIFA 16 for like $20. And I'm going, bro, we are 2 years past that shit, and you're still trying to give me $20 for this? I feel like you got to pay me to own this game. Who the fuck is buying that? Hey, yeah, 2018 Call of Duty Ghosts, that'll be $30. You go to trade in Call of Duty Ghosts, and I'll give you a quarter. I'll give you a quarter in store credit.
You had a used game that you could sell to somebody that never played it for cheaper, and you could take their money and trade it in for a newer game. I understand that GameStop would give you a solid 90% less money than what the game costed if you traded it in with them, but shit, Some money back is better than no money. You could also lend games to your friends or trade games with your friends. Hopefully have them actually give the game back, or y'all were not on speaking terms until further notice. I still haven't talked.
Yo, solid take here. I kind of love when Airbnbs have gaming consoles. It's like an Xbox 360 and they're all really shitty games. Like in my head, I'm going, wow, this is like uber lazy and these games suck. Like this isn't really that big of a perk, but it's like super fun if you're hanging out with your friends and you're like, oh my God, we're going to play NHL 2007. We're going to play a game that came out that we're probably the first people that play this game in the last 9 years.
To this in third grade that never gave my SpongeBob movie game back to me. Hope he's doing terrible in life. For a lot of poor kids, this will be their Game Pass and main way they got games. The best bet they have now is if the game studio decides to put games on sale, or getting the Xbox Game Pass, which
bro, just buy every game on Steam on the summer Steam sale or the winter Steam sale, bro. Just pile up like 20 games and just ride that until the next Steam sale, dude. So much shit's like 80% off.
Even that won't have everything they want. Companies are known to keep game prices high no matter how old the game is. Removing physical copies is
not everybody's on PC. I'm saying for people that are on PC, squad.
Is only to
sorry, that was mean.
Benefit the companies themselves. It's not like they even have to make a mass amount then they have them potentially not sell on shelves. They could make them on order and ship them to people, but they're choosing not to because they know what's smarter for money. I'll end it off with, even though things like this happening are sad, I don't think physical media is truly out yet. People will always appreciate physical value of media, and a lot of people are even fighting back by getting more physical things.
Holy giga, Chad.
Example is vinyls, which saw an increase of more people buying them. Even though it's mainly for the aesthetic and not to take out the big ass disc and play music on it, it's better than nothing, alright? At least people are buying physical media. Also, people are still buying things like manga or books because they want a cool looking collection. So humanity hasn't fully given up
Well, I think they just want to read them too. Digitally reading a book sucks.
to digital media yet. And my hope is we could have a good balance of both, because if we had all digital media, I hope y'all know these companies will be the most scummy, greedy pieces of all time. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, I love.
Bro, you always say tic-tac. I love Tommy, bro. That was a good video. Let's continue to collect physical media, guys. We want to own stuff.